Ecuador got sucker punched. They got sucker punched in a game where they were more dominant in the first half and should have put themselves in a really, really good position to pick up all 3 points because of the way they started the game and the chances that they created for themselves, but failed to put them in the back of the net. I thought Ivory Coast took a really long time to find their feet in this game. I don't know if they were nervous. It's been a while since they were at the World Cup. They missed the last 2. And I don't know, maybe they had a little bit of stage fright. The whole world is watching. So maybe, they were just feeling things out, allowing Ecuador to play with the ball, soak up some pressure, and, break on a counter through Diomande and Co. Ecuador will be kicking themselves right now. I'm telling you. They'll be kicking themselves. Ivory Coast 1, Ecuador 0. It should have been, it could have, should have, would have been a whole different result if those attempts had gone in. Ecuador hit the post 3 times and they had numerous other opportunities that should have been in the back of the net. And Valencia had chances, Listen, this result is so big that right now, Ecuador are under so much pressure that they can't even finish. Like right now, I don't think Ecuador could finish top 2 in the group unless there's a strange result where, Curacao pick up a win, maybe against Ivory Coast, or Ecuador themselves beat Germany, because the game that they were supposed to pick up a result in, a draw or win, they lost the freaking game. They should beat Curacao. They should beat Curacao. Right? Right, guys? Right? Well, maybe they won't, but they should beat Curacao, pick up 3 points, but because they didn't get anything from the Ivory Coast match, 3 points, maybe all they could get if they fail to pick up anything against Germany. And Germany are looking good right now. So as it stands, it ain't looking good for Ecuador. But as for the Ivory Coast, who came into the World Cup real hot with a victory in the warm-up game against France of all teams, they have put themselves in such a good position to get out the group. A win against Ecuador and most likely a win against Curacao, that's 6 points. They may give Germany a run for their money and pick up a draw and possibly top the group. They have to destroy Curacao in that game. It might be hard to do. Curacao may turn up and put up a challenge. But I think the Ivory Coast should defeat Curacao. Back to the game. The way Ecuador started this game, they should have won the game. But that's not football, For some reason, the Ivory Coast held on by the skin of their teeth. They took advantage of that. They went into the second half, and they came out a stronger, more cohesive unit, a more focused unit. It was a wide open game, end-to-end stuff. If you check the stats, it will tell you that story. 16 shots at goal for Ivory Coast at the end of it all. And to make matters worse, the Ivory Coast in the first half had 3 players yellow carded, so they were playing under immense pressure. And to make matters worse, the manager didn't even take those players off when he had the opportunity to. He did eventually take off Doué and Fofana, but Kessie stayed on the field. But that wasn't the earliest substitutions, from my recollection. This was a sucker punch because it was a substitute in Diallo who came off the bench to score. Brilliant. Diallo is a clutch player. I know he plays for Man United. I'm a Man City fan, but Diallo is a clutch player. The manager, Immerse Faye, deserves a lot of credit here for that substitution. As for Becca Sese and Ivory, Ecuador, they would rue those missed chances. They would really rue those missed chances. But the Ivory Coast deserves a lot of credit here. Back to the stats. 16 shots, 4 on target, 49% of the ball, 441 passes, 85% possession, 10 fouls. It was a very physical game. Ecuador, pardon me, I'm mixing up my mints. It's been a long day. 10 shots at goal, 1 on target. Not clinical enough, hitting the woodwork too many times when they should have put those balls in the back of the net. 51% possession, 503 passes with an 87% pass accuracy, 15 fouls. After being dominant in the early stages of the game, I think the game became very, very equal. The two teams matched each other, tactically and, quality-wise, and it looked like it was going to be a 0-0 draw. let me just put that in there. It looked like we were going to have our first 0-0 draw of the 2026 World Cup, and I was like, yeah, it's a fitting result. Both teams are canceling each other out. Even though I did not get any time to put out a prediction video or a prediction because I was busy, I did predict a 2-2 draw. I thought they were going to draw. But Ivory Coast, this was a hijack. This was a heist. Pick up 3 points here. Unlikely 3 points, I'm going to say. Some may say no, but I'm going to say an unlikely 3 points against a very quality, talented Ecuadorian team with names like Moises Caicedo at Chelsea, Willian Pacho, back-to-back Champions League winners with PSG, Hincapié just won the Premier League with Arsenal, Gonzalo Plata, Enner Valencia, the veteran, Yeboah, who looked good in the game. Listen, I know Ecuador probably somewhere right now, whether they're traveling to their hotel or whatever they're doing, they must feel like crap. Be like, God damn, we had a point. We could have won. And look at the position that we're in right now. We could be exiting the World Cup. What if Curacao pull off a draw against Ecuador? That's it. Would 3 points be enough for Ecuador to get out of the group as one of the best third-place teams? Maybe not. Quite possibly, but maybe not. It's left to be seen, guys. Congrats to the Ivory Coast. This is a big win. Not going to go back in history too much. My memory when it comes to football sometimes is, when it comes to matches and stuff, it ain't good. But past players, like Yaya Toure and Colo Toure, these guys would feel very, very proud of the team. Wilfred Boney, you think about a player like Didier Drogba. These guys will be very, very happy right now with this result. And the list goes on. I'm just running a blank, I'm running a blank right now when it comes to the names. I know a lot of players from the Ivory Coast, but I'm just running a blank right about now. My bad. But they too have some quality players. But I have to say, Yan Diomande is a hell of a player, man. I haven't seen a lot of him, but he's a hell of a player. Hell of a player. Ivory Coast could be a team to watch at the World Cup. They could be a dark horse at the World Cup if they continue playing the way they played. The game against Germany would be very, very interesting. Very interesting. Ivory Coast, Germany, they would feel like they could pick up a point. I think they're the youngest team on paper as well. The youngest squad at the World Cup. I think they would fancy their chances of picking up something against Germany. It may come down to goal difference between Germany and Ivory Coast. Or it may just be Ivory Coast, second, Germany, top in the group. I did predict Germany to come in third. It could still happen, but it looks unlikely with the results that we have right now. I was banking on Ecuador to do something special. Not the case. So, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. This is just a quick match reaction. You know, a lot of games, a lot of, information to digest, a lot of things to analyze. It's not easy, man. It ain't easy. It ain't easy for a regular guy like myself. You see what I'm saying? Just put yourself in my shoes for a second. You know what I mean? And you'll understand exactly how I feel. So, the next set of games, Ivory Coast, they will play Germany, and that's next Saturday. And Ecuador will take on Curacao, I think, next Saturday as well. These are going to be some hell of a games in Group E of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Bring it on, man. Bring it on. Excitement, passion, and most of all, entertainment. Guys, I'm your boy Dom. Subscribe if you like the video if you haven't yet done so. And until next time, peace out. Rich Squad. Guys, we talk soon.